I had one camper that says, "Hey, I didn't sign up for this." And I said, "Not only did you sign up for it, you paid for it. You're paying for this." But I'm so excited for tonight because we have some very, very special guests that I believe could make this final night's concert the best one in cabin camp history. So you're in for a treat. You're in for a treat. You'll be glad that you're here. So as we go through the evening, I'll be introducing these special guests. But we do have a very special guest that I'd like to introduce right now because he's going to help us get through this evening in a very fun way. This next guy is one of my best friends. We get together every Tuesday morning for breakfast and talk about everything you can talk about. He's a guy that I lean on a lot, and he leans on me too. He happens to be one of the most talented guys in his field. In fact, he's a member of the National Country Music Radio Broadcasters Hall of Fame. That's a pretty big deal, huh? Yeah. He is the program director and the manager and the host of Sirius XM's Bluegrass Junction. Folks, welcome to the cabin, Mr. Kyle Cantrell.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Well, thanks, everybody. It is good to be here, and I have to tell you, this guy here means the world to me. Right back at you, everything you said. He's such a good friend and such a reliable brother, and it's good to be here and get to introduce these bands. Now, I understand, Ben, that these bands don't even know what names you have christened them, or do they?
They don't. That was part of the deal too. We had fun this week, so you're going to get lots of surprises tonight. And let me go ahead and tell you folks, you band members and all you guests, how this is going to work. There are some judges here tonight that are going to judge each group. And we're going to judge not on how well you play, not on how fast you play, but we are going to judge on how well you work together and utilize all the members of your band, how well you work these microphones so that we can actually hear you in the back. Anybody can do that, right? And also just pure entertainment value. So we've got a scorecard running, and Mr. Kyle here is going to be the MC. He's going to turn this into our very own little cabin/pavilion Grand Ole Opry show.
Yeah, or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
all
Thank
right.
you, Kyle.
So it is my pleasure to introduce the bands tonight. I was saying when I got here, boy, this is an intimidating number of banjo players to have in one place for a guy like me, as much as I love the banjo. But anyway, let's bring on our first group. And I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys will do because I've got some facts here that have been given me about these groups. And this one says, this ragtag group of pickers bonded over a tuner. That is, until they lost it. Then they bonded over that, too. In fact, there's no one else on earth they'd rather be out of tune with. Give it up for the band Tune Deaf. On up here. Let's see what you can do.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Kyle, for that introduction. Where I come from, we have a term for a guy like that. They call him radio voice. But anyway, we would be remiss if we didn't mention a couple of our sponsors. The first one is the William V. Fulk Wrecker Service from Danbury, North Carolina. They have all the R's covered. They can do rollbacks, they can do rotators, they can do just plain old wreckers. They can do recovery, they can do repo, and they do hazardous material cleanup. Call them for all your wrecker needs, big or small, they tow them all. And then our second sponsor is Ernie's Hen House of Walnut Cove, North Carolina. Ernie can handle all your poultry needs. And always remember that on Saturdays after 1 p.m., cracked eggs are half price. So with that, we'll get started. Thank you.
Where, oh, where are you tonight? Why did you leave me here all alone? I searched the world over and thought I found true love. You met another and you was gone. going to finish us off?
Sorry. Thank you all very much.
Very good. And they worked that up in an hour. Tune deaf, ladies and gentlemen. Very good, very good. Well, I tell you what, Ben mentioned the Grand Ole Opry. We never had anything like that on the Grand Ole Opry, that's for sure. No, I didn't say that. All right, let's bring on our next group. I think they're making their way up here now. This group met in Tent City under the I-40 overpass. You guys know where that is? After sharing stories of life on the road and discovering a shared love of bluegrass, they decided to leave their bikes and shopping carts behind to form a band. Put your hands together for Ditty Bumps. Oh, Ditty Bumjos, that's what it is.
Howdy, folks. Y'all glad to be here? If you're here, raise your hand. If you don't like raising your hand, raise your hand. Anybody? I want to welcome my little red-haired girl here tonight, the lovely Mrs. Williams, right over here. We rode down together the other day, and we were listening to Sirius XM and some good old-fashioned bluegrass music, and Stanley Brothers came on, Rank Stranger. And I was singing with it, and I nailed it. I just nailed it. It was so good. I mean, I was getting chills. Song finished, I look over at Mrs. Williams, and she's sitting there, her fists are clenched, she's shaking, tear rolling down her cheek. I was waiting for her to say something. I knew I nailed the song. I mean, I knew I nailed it, but I wanted some confirmation from her. Just, give me something. Nothing. She spoke not a word. So I looked over her and started fishing for a compliment and said, boy, I sure do wish I could sing. She said, yeah, me too. Been with her 40 years, and I never knew that she wanted to be a bluegrass singer too. Kick it off, John.
All right. I was standing by my window on one cold and cloudy day when I saw that hearse come running for to carry my mother away. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. I said to that undertaker, undertaker, please drive slow. For that lady you are carrying, Lord, I hate to see her go. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky.
gone. All my brothers and sisters crying in a home so sad and alone. Everybody, will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaited in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaited in the sky, Lord, in the sky. Not bad for Tent City.
Oh, I love the big finish. Ditty Bumjos. Another nice hand for them here. All right. Well, we are ready for our next group, which hopefully will begin making their way up here shortly. This group was convinced that they could make anybody a bluegrass believer, and they got together, these pickers did, for that very purpose. Their audiences are known for leaving shows being absolutely convinced that they've heard better. Please give a hearty welcome to the Ebanjolists. Come up here.
Now, how the heck did we get number 3 and come up behind that guy?
Yeah, you're singing, right?
No.
Wait, who's singing? Which one? Oh, well, I guess nobody's singing. Okay, that's a good thing. Do you have our sponsors?
Oh, shoot.
We're accepting applications for sponsors, but don't treat this as a demo. We'll get you a tape. Don't worry. All right, here we go. Hang on.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Sarah.
Sarah who?
Sarah, doctor in the house.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hatch.
Hatch who?
God bless you. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Omelet.
Omelet who?
I'm gonna let you go ahead and get us off this stage.
The Ebanjolists, ladies and gentlemen. Good job, guys. All right. Wow, we're just rolling through these. The next group here played the first tune they played together. They were surprised to see that the audience had tears in their eyes. They were moved to tears. They just didn't realize that Nashville Hot Chicken had just been served, and folks weren't crying over the good music. No one's had the heart to tell them any different. I guess they know now. Let's give it up for Nashville Hot Pickin. Come on up here, guys.
Well, howdy, folks. I tell you what, we have had such a blast here tonight, and really this whole several days. It's been great fun, Ben. It's been great fun for us, and we just can't imagine having any more fun than we've had, and we've had fun every single moment, all the way up until the one where we found out we were going to have to perform tonight. But you know, it's been great, and we're going to play a 9-pound hammer for you, but it's going to be an abbreviated version because we truly can't handle the load. And I was supposed to come up with a joke, and I forgot it. But you know, the funny thing is we were looking, and there's really only 3 banjo jokes. Only 3. Yeah, and because all the rest are true stories.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Nashville Hot Pickin, everybody. Let's hear it for them. Oh, that's good. I may have seen a tear or two out there. I don't know. Might have. All right, we're ready for the next group, and this motley crew met up at a festival. They were shocked to see the church ladies serving the brownies, and even more surprised when a banjo player performed. It didn't take long for them to realize that they weren't at the right festival at all. Wrong kind of grass, I don't think. Wasn't just bluegrass. Introducing, ladies and gentlemen, the Resonating Potheads.
Yeah, thank goodness we had supper first, right?
I don't know. I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah. Hey, we'd like to take this opportunity to thank Banjo Ben and his staff for putting on such a great place for musicians like us to be able to get together. And give yourselves a round of applause for being such a great looking audience. One, two, three, four, and... The other night, dear, as I lay sleeping, I dreamed I held you in my arms. But when I woke, dear, I was mistaken. So I hung my head and I cried. I'll always love you and make you happy if you will only say the same. But if you leave me and love another, you'll regret it all someday. You told me once, dear, you really loved me, and no one could ever come between. But now you left me and loved another. You have shattered all of my dreams. In all my dreams, dear, you seem to leave me. When I awake, my poor heart pains. So when you come back and make me happy, I'll forgive you and take all the blame. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Come on! Please don't take my sunshine away. You are my sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Great. And now you know what happens when you get a group of potheads on a stage like this. It's really great. The Resonating Potheads, one more time for them. All right. Well, we've kind of rolled through these groups, and I'm eager to bring on this next group, if for no other reason than to just get to call the name of the group, as you'll see what I mean here in just a minute. This gang met on a cruise ship. They all danced together into the wee hours of the morning, and eventually a banjo showed up. Well, you know what they say, what happens on the ship stays on the ship. Well, until tonight. And so for the first time on land, I want you to put your hands together for Shake Your Tailpiece.
We first want to thank all our opening acts for opening up for us. We thank you guys.
while the band's getting ready, some of you may heard of Little Johnny jokes. How many heard a Little Johnny joke before? Not the cleanest. Come on, don't all like it. Well, this ain't church right now, exactly. Have you heard a Little Ben joke? They're worse. Well, Little Ben, teacher told the class, you go home this weekend, something exciting happens, come back, and you get to share it with the whole class. Man, Ben, he was excited come Monday morning. He was jumping around. I mean, he was jumping, the desk was anchored, but he wasn't. Teacher said, I hate to call on him, good grief. She finally said, Ben, what happened this weekend? He said, teacher, he said, me and my dad went fishing. We both caught 75 catfish. They all weighed 75 pounds each. She said, now, Ben. He said, oh, yes, ma'am, teacher. He said, my dad's a good fisherman. I mean, better than him. We both caught 75 catfish. They all weighed 75 pounds each. She said, now, Ben, let's say I told you when I was walking through the park this morning on the way to school, out of the bushes, a 6-foot-tall grizzly bear, 250 pounds, jumped out and was going to kill me and eat me. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this little old 2-pound yellow dog came, jumped up, grabbed that grizzly bear by the neck, whipped him around, broke his neck, killed him dead. Would you believe that, Ben? He said, oh, yes, ma'am, I would. As a matter of fact, that's my dog.
Ready, folks? Y'all ready? Woo! In the sky, Lord, in the sky. Let him keep going. Will the circle be unbroken by and by, Lord, by and by? There's a better home awaiting in the sky, Lord, in the sky. All together, tag. The sky, Lord, in the sky. Thank you.
Shake your tailpiece, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it for them again. Oh, great job. Now, I understand our judges are off to mark the ballots now. Is that right, Ben?
Yeah.
All right.
So we're just going to spend a few minutes in the cabin tallying the numbers. Also want to give a hand to our house band tonight, Mr. Gunnar Salyer on bass, and Mr. Mark Roki on guitar. Thank you, guys. Okay, we're going to be back in just a few minutes. Give this guy a hard time.
All right. Give me a hard time. Wow. Well, I guess this is where I get to stand here and kind of kill time for a few minutes. Somebody was saying one time that I have the right weapon to do it with. So, well, it is good to have you. How many of you have been here before? Return visitors. Well, I can't pull anything new on you today, can I? Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kyle Cantrell. I have been in radio broadcasting now for 41 years as of this June. Thank you. And for most of that time, I've been able to make a living at it. I've had a few off years, but it's been a good ride. Began working at a little radio station in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, back in the days when everything was phonograph records and tape machines, and things have changed a lot since then. Sometimes I think I'm more of a data processor now than a broadcaster, the way technology has changed, but it's been a great ride. The one thing that has been constant for as long as I've been doing this is the music, and we've always had great music to work with. And while it's changed a whole lot, some things for the better, some things not for the better, the creativity level of the music today is about as high as it's ever been, and I'm really enjoying it. For the past 15 years, I worked for Sirius XM Radio. Actually, and let me take that back. I worked for Sirius XM for really 20 years now. 20 years as of this January, this coming January, it will have been 20 years, when I started doing some on-air work for Sirius Satellite Radio, then moved over to XM Satellite Radio 16 years ago this fall, to take over the Bluegrass channel. And for the past 16 years at XM and now Sirius XM, I've been involved in bluegrass music very heavily. Never dreamed when I started out in broadcasting that I would be working with bluegrass all the time, because a bluegrass format, where you play bluegrass 24 hours a day on the radio, was something that was not even thought of back in those days. But I always loved bluegrass. From the first time I heard it as a child, I remember seeing Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs on TV. They were on here on Saturday afternoons locally. How many of you watched the Flatt and Scruggs TV show? Anybody remember that show? You have to be a little bit of an older generation, I guess, as in my generation, to remember Flatt and Scruggs on television. But that was the first bluegrass I saw, and then later discovered how wonderful the music was, especially when I started listening to it on a daily basis, because I discovered after Flatt and Scruggs broke up, Lester Flatt had a daily radio show over WSM here in Nashville. Does anybody here remember listening to that show? Okay, we've got one. I'm glad I'm not the only one here that remembers that. But 5:45 in the morning, Martha White biscuit time. And Lester Flatt and the Nashville Grass in the 1970s, when I was getting ready for school, that was always on the radio at our house. And that's really where I found my love for bluegrass music. And then when I actually got to work for WSM, which I did for 21 years, we played a lot of bluegrass on the station, but it wasn't a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week thing. So when I had a chance to start doing it at XM in 2005, I really had to think about how would we make 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of bluegrass work. But it has not been all that hard, to tell you the truth, because what I've learned is that beyond Lester Flatt and beyond Earl Scruggs and beyond Bill Monroe and Jim and Jesse and the Osborne brothers, these were artists that I knew from having worked at WSM and the Grand Ole Opry all that time. There was a whole different culture of music that exists that calls itself bluegrass. And there are so many bands that unless you are part of this community, you don't really get to know. And I would urge those of you who don't listen to bluegrass a lot to really delve into it, because I'm convinced that the last real musicianship in American music is in bluegrass. And I would put our musicians in bluegrass music up against in any genre of music anywhere. They are some of the absolute best. Thank you. Thank you for agreeing with me on that. They really are. They truly are ultra talented. And you'll see some of that on this stage here tonight. And I'm thinking in previous Cabin Camps, you've seen some of the really great people if you've been here before. perform on this stage. We have a few of them in attendance here tonight. In fact, and some of them are actually involved in the judging of this contest. Really, really, really great people. So it's a privilege to get to be a part of this, and it's a privilege to get to come here and see people who are interested enough in the music to want to learn how to play it. You know, even if it doesn't develop anything more than just a pastime, just something to do for fun, it's great to know that people are that interested and will come here and take the time to learn how to play the banjo and mandolin and guitar and bass and whatever else that you can learn here. Ben, how are we doing? Are we we're ready to go? All right, we have the results of the judges in. Let's bring up Ben here. You got the secret envelope, so to speak. All right.
You got the band name, so I'm gonna have to tell you're gonna do the announcement. I'll point to
Okay.
which number here.
All right.
It was close, folks. It was really close, but there was a standout winner here. But first, before I announce the winners, I do want to announce or introduce our celebrity guest judge tonight. We're newly friends, but I have a feeling that we'll pick a lot of music together in the future. She's just a sweetheart of a person and one of the most talented fiddle players I've ever heard. With you tonight is Miss Maddie Denton. Just wait for us, Maddie. You're going to get to hear her tonight.
She's
Maddie-
actually been a guest of mine on Sirius XM
Oh,
before.
wow,
so.
wow. She's won every contest you can think of for fiddling and actually judges fiddle contests all over the place. Currently playing with East Nash Grass and the Dan Tominski Band. And so she's going to saw it in two tonight. All right, now for the winners. The runners-up. We had a tie for third, but our second place winner stood alone. Second place is
The Ebanjolists.
Raise your hand, band number 3. Raise your hand. Where you at?
Band number 3, there they are. All right. Congratulations.
That close. The first place band tonight, they just really impressed us. All 3 judges were in unanimity as to who the winner was. And tonight is...
Okay. Ditty Bumjos.
Where you at? Come down. Band number 2, come down. Bianca, can I get a photo, please? Come on down. We're going to get a photo.
We didn't know what her name was. I wonder who it was.
Congratulations. Kyle, can you get in here, please?
Congratulations, guys. Thank you.
They did a great job arranging. I laughed a lot. I yelled a lot, and I could hear all of your solos. It was so good. And I stood in the very back on purpose to see who I could hear. Did a really great job. Okay, I own the mic. Shouldn't I be able to raise it? We've got a fun night for you tonight. There's something that I want to do first. I want to recognize a few people that this camp simply could not have happened without. Gosh, there's so many. I hope that I don't forget any. But I would first like to thank my beautiful wife, Hannah, for opening our home and being such a good host. I don't know where she is. Around here. Thank you, Hannah. I'd like to thank my assistant, Miss Alicia, for making this whole thing happen. Thank you, Alicia. If I hear one thing over and over and over again throughout the weekend, you know what it is? I love the food. That's what I hear. Can y'all give a big hand to Damon and Martha Coe? They work so hard. They come in from Atlantic, North Carolina, and just selflessly serve and work and work and work. And I had a whole kitchen staff around them that was just amazing this week. You know who you are. Let's give them applause. Wow. Who else? Lots of people. So many volunteers. I couldn't do this without you. Yeah, Riker and Braden and Ethan, thank y'all so much. Mark, thank you for coming up. Of course, we had our instructors that were so wonderful this week, and we want to play a little music for you. How about that? Yeah. Now, this was my first Banjo-Only camp, and I didn't know how it was going to go exactly. This camp sold out in under 3 minutes. Can you believe it? I mean, I suspected it was going to be popular, but I had no idea. And so we introduced a new style this time, claw hammer banjo. And those of you who were fortunate enough to be in that class got to know Dave Dillard, and what a treat of a feller he is. And I know that he had a great time this weekend too, teaching you how to bum ditty and do all that stuff. So what I'd love to do is get Dave up and get Maddie up and a couple other rhythm pieces here and do y'all some good old time music. How about that? Because Dave can maybe explain to you a little bit of the difference, those of you who are guests here tonight. Come on up, Maddie, and whoever's picking with y'all. I'm going to get them to do a couple, maybe even an original song in a little while that was written this weekend. Y'all were actually part of it. You inspired a song to be written in my living room this weekend. I won't spoil it. On mandolin, we have my sister Penny Lee Clark. Let's give Mr. Dave Dillard a hand, your clawhammer instructor, who also opened his home to us. And on the other banjo here, are you playing bass? He's going to play bass. Our banjo instructor, my sister Katie Lou Clark, give her a hand. Dave, thank you for being here, my friend.
Do we have to be in tune?
No. Did they have tuners in the late 1800s when these songs were popularized?
That's right.
Probably not. Maddie, do you want to get on this one, or do you want me to raise one up for you?
We'll both get on.
Okay, great.
All right, we're going to play a tune for you called Soldier's Joy. It's an old-time tune. It's actually a tune from the Civil War days, and the tune sounds sort of happy, but the song title, Soldier's Joy, is what Civil War soldiers called a mixture of morphine, beer, and whiskey that they'd take before they went to see the surgeon. So it sort of has a dark history with it, but became a popular fiddle tune during that time. And we're going to play old-time style. We're going to hang on the melody for quite a while until we get a little tired of that, and then we'll stop playing. So that's how it's going to go. slow it down just a little bit. Can we? We'll slow it down. Good. We're gonna slow it down a little bit. And we're gonna play Angeline the Baker. This song's about a baker named Angeline. We're going to play a song, and how did it come to be?
It started with you.
Yeah, so we were after breakfast in there, and I was just playing a little lick of something. I woke up one morning. I build banjos for fun and for a living. Well, no, for fun. Entirely for fun. And I woke up, one morning I just finished a banjo made out of maple, and it had a song in it. It just sort of came out of it. But it wasn't a whole song, it was just part of a song. And this morning after breakfast, two very tall red-headed women came about me and finished it out. So it was quite a treat. Do we name it?
What's the name of the song?
We don't know. We're thinking maybe somewhere between two red-headed tall women. That's in tune.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I need to go down. Let me get rid of my capo, all right? That's it for clawhammer. Time for a real banjo.
Thank you, Dave. Give him a hand. One day you might hear that on the radio somewhere. You heard it here first. I'd never heard that before. What a treat. Well, our banjo players this week in all three classes got a very, very special treat this week as one of my good buddies and one of the best banjo players in the country was kind enough to stop by, lend some instruction. Those of y'all who are here know who I'm talking about. To those of you who are visiting tonight, I'd like to introduce banjo picker Mr. Russ Carson. Come on up, Russ. Where are you, Russ? There you are. He's a big old boy. Good to have you, man. So Russ is one of my favorite banjo pickers, and he's from Pennsylvania, lived in Nashville for about 7 years, where you've been playing with for Ricky Skaggs and Kentucky Thunder, which is one of the top gigs in the world. And what I asked Russ to do was to team up with my friend Maddie and do something very traditional for us here tonight. Would you even maybe tell us a little bit about what you're going to do with Maddie and the role of your banjo to her fiddle playing? We're still kind of in instruction mode. I'd like for folks I'd like for folks to know what's about to happen.
Well, we're fixing to do something. This is this is one of my favorite things about playing the banjo is backing up a fiddle player. We're going to do it in the style of Earl Scruggs and Paul Warren, and it's just the marriage of these two instruments. They just go together so beautifully, and especially when you get to play with a wonderful player like Maddie, you can ask for nothing more. So,
thanks, Russ. You're going to take a solo, though, right?
we might. We've never done this together, have we?
No.
All right. Well, let's see what happens. Might even be in tune. Close enough for bluegrass.
Ooh. All right.
Ready?
Yeah. Russ Carson, y'all.
Give a hand for Mr. Russ Carson, Miss Maddie Denton. Maddie, you're gonna stay with us. Calling Banjo Master Alan Mundy to the stage. Are you around here, Alan? Hey, there he is. I see his neck sticking up. Well, what do I say about this guy? I met Alan almost 20 years ago. He was one of the main reasons why I quit grad school and began to study music, is because I had an opportunity to go to school, to a college, and study banjo and guitar under Alan Mundy. And gosh, I wish I'd remembered more about what you taught me, but I did my best, Alan. And I just want to say what an honor it is to have you here at my house 20 years later, and to host you at a banjo camp. You're one of my heroes in many, many ways, not just your banjo picking. And I know that you students just loved him to death this weekend. Let's give him a hand, Mr. Alan Mundy. Well, Alan, one of your originals that's also one of my favorite songs is one called Peaches and Cream. I've taught it to my students on the site. I play it every chance I get. But I've never actually played it with you. I'd like to try that tonight.
This is a tune that I've played for a long, long time, and I actually wrote it when I was here in Nashville. I lived here 69 to 72 and worked with Jimmy Martin, and while I was here, I bought a record that was Chet Atkins and Homer and Jethro, and they called themselves the Nashville String Band, I think is what they called themselves. And it wasn't a record of really hot tunes or anything, but they were just real beautiful melodies, very well played and very well arranged. And I was just inspired by it. So I wrote this tune just kind of from the music that they played on that record. But it was here when I was here in Nashville. So it's kind of, although I know we're not in Nashville, we're in Mount Juliet. I know that, but in a sense, it's Nashville. So we're going to play, and like I said, we've never done this. And actually, when Ben came to school, I actually had to teach him how to use a knife and a fork. I mean, it was that rough. It was that rough.
Yeah.
All right.
I would have used it. I just didn't have anything to eat.
Yeah. All right. So, do I start this?
Yeah, you kick it off. Well, you'll
Okay.
kick it off, and then Penny, and then Maddie, then me and you together.
All right. This is a tune called Peaches and Cream.
Peaches
it.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. All right. Is he up here? Where are we going? Welcome to West Texas? Is that what
Sure,
it is?
yeah. Welcome. Either that or
We
Monday
just
Night
put this together. Oh, Monday Night Waltz. Yes. Let me see the guitar.
You know, I've lived, I'm from Oklahoma originally. I'm sorry. It's a state law that if you're out of state and you mention that you have to play that tune, so it's not me. It's the law. Don't do that anymore. Anyway, being from there, there's a lot of fiddle players and a lot of fiddle contests, and they used to, at fiddle contests, they allowed them to play 3 tunes, a breakdown, a waltz, and a tune of choice. But there's so many fiddle players in the contest nowadays that they've eliminated one of the waltz as a mandatory tune, so you play a breakdown in your tune of choice, and very few of them for their tune of choice select a waltz. So I thought, man, that's terrible. I like those waltzes. So I wrote a waltz for the banjo, and it's my entry into trying to become the waltz king of the banjo. So we're going to give it a shot. If I can get this banjo to stay on. I haven't played standing up.
Yeah.
I used to say, you know, I should practice more standing up. And then I thought, well, that doesn't quite sound right. I should practice more playing my banjo while standing. This is a tune called, very cleverly, the Monday Night Waltz.
Texas and talk about Joe.
Alrighty. For many, I taught it, as Ben mentioned, at a little college out in West Texas called South Plains College, and a colleague of mine there named Joe Carr. And Joe was really important in my life. We played music together in Country Gazette for several years. And then for all the years I was at South Plains College, 20 years Joe was there, and we played music together and toured together as a duo. And Joe was a funny guy, isn't he? And so we were in Country Gazette, which was a four-piece group. It was me and Joe and Mike Anderson and Roland White, who is a legend in the music, played at a group, four-piece group, traveled. And then later on, when I was at the college, Joe and I traveled and toured as a duo. And actually it went really well, and we had a good time, and it was in some ways better. And Joe said, you know, if we'd known this duo business was so good, we'd have booked Country Gazette as two duets. You know, so Joe was a very funny guy, and that's only just a small sample of, I mean, it was every day, just every day. And truly, since Joe died here maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't say something like this. You know, Joe Carr used to say, and there'd be some witticism that Joe had, and it came out in his songs. You know, he wrote quite a few sort of humorous songs, and I was mentioning the other day that we have a camp at the school called Camp Bluegrass, and that Joe had written a camp song, and it was it went something like this: we didn't mean to change your lives, we only wanted to teach you G, C, and D. And, you know, G, C, and D is life-changing.
It is.
I mean, look at us.
Yeah.
We're all here to this very day because all we wanted to do was learn G, C, and D. You know, and so it's pretty astounding. But anyway, they're going to do a song that Joe wrote that's, Joe loved West Texas. He wasn't from there. He was from around Dallas. Nor was I, but I really enjoyed West Texas. It's got its charms.
Yeah.
Come on.
It does. I love it.
Yeah.
We sing it.
Yeah. And after Ben came, Katie and Penny came, and we had a great time, for sure. And they sang this at Joe's memorial. Came out there, and it was so sweet. I just blubbered the whole time. But it was really great. It's called Welcome to West Texas.
Welcome to West Texas. There's music in the air. Dust and clouds, a tornado or two, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. You wake up in a dust storm, at noon it starts to rain. The front blows through at 2:15, at 3 it's sunny again. The wind picks up a little, you see a house go flying by. Be sure to watch your spit or it'll hit you in the eye. It will. Welcome to West Texas, there's music in the air. Dust clouds, a tornado or two, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. Well, here comes a big blue northern, and it's looking cold and dense. In the morning, grab your ice picks, chip the livestock off the fence. If you don't like the weather, you just wait an hour or two. up, may the wind be at your back. Well, don't worry about breathing dust in. The scientific research shows West Texas dust is so big that it won't fit in your nose. Oh, welcome to West Texas. There's music in the air. Dust clouds, a UFO, no telling what's up there. Well, the wind outside is howling, coyotes crying fear. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here. Welcome to West Texas, you're gonna like it here.
Thank you so much, Alan. Alan's going to join us in a song in just a moment, but thank you. Everybody give Alan a hand. Let me go. Here, you do this one. It's in C really fast. It's that fast one, Maddie. Maddie played through this once with us in the living room.
This is a song that Katie and I wrote a few years ago, and we put it on one of our projects, and we thought we'd bring it out tonight. And it's one based out of Philippians 1:6, which says, "For I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus." It's called "Never Gonna Let Me Go." He'll take it away and toss it out. He'll renew your faith, because right now he's holding his word. It's all the reason we wanna praise him and shout his promises. He said he will keep. I've got a God who can guarantee eternal life and everlasting breath. If we believe on his name, we will never see death. Jesus is my hope for salvation. He's never A big hand for Maddie over there on the fiddle and Mark on the bass. Good job, Mark.
Well, we still have some really fun stuff happening tonight, so don't go to sleep. Don't leave. A couple more tunes for you. And I would like to just, again, introduce my sisters and just compliment them and brag on them a little bit. We didn't grow up playing music together because there was 7 years difference between us, and I was studying classical piano, which is primarily a solo sport, you know, and so a lot of folks think we grew up playing and singing together. We did not, but I started playing this bluegrass music, you know, when I got into college and discovered this community, being able to make music with other people, and that just really excited me, and I couldn't wait to share it with my family. And so I would come home from college with what I'd worked on for the semester and show my sisters, and they would learn it over just a week or two. and I'd go back and learn some more and bring it back home to them again and show them these licks, and they'd learn that over Christmas break. And that's kind of how we communicated for a while. And I was out of the house. I'd gone to South Plains College and then moved to Nashville. When the girls went to South Plains, spent time with Alan, and eventually they moved to Nashville too. And I knew that I wanted to make music with them. I didn't really know how that was going to look, but through a series of providential events, we all three were able to be signed to publishing deals, to songwriting deals with Sony Publishing. And it was there, kind of on the songwriting's biggest stage, so to speak, that we learned how to be songwriters in many ways. We'd written just a little bit before that. We had no business having publishing deals, but we had them. Well, it turns out that those folks at Sony knew something, because Penny and Katie can flat out write a song. And they're some of my favorite songwriters now. And actually, one of our best friends, Jeff Hyde, back there is big-time hit Nashville songwriter. But Jeff, I love the songs you write with us better than all those George Strait and Eric Church hits. Oh, thank you, brother. Thank you. But my sisters had to move home in 2013 when my dad got sick with terminal cancer, and they moved back home to help Mom, who's here tonight. And give a hand for my mom back there. And when Dad passed away in July of 2013, gosh, of course it was hard. And after a little while, this song came out of these girls. It was a gift from the Lord, but they can tell you maybe a little bit more about it. But they would keep a running log of all the things that they wish they could tell Dad about, you know, all the things they wish that he knew about. And they turned that into a song. And I've got to stop thinking about the song or I'll just start crying. I don't know how they sing it. It's okay to cry, but I'm just so proud of this song. I'm going to record this on an upcoming project that I'm going to be putting out over the next year. And it's just my honor to include this song, not because the girls wrote it, but because it's one of the best songs I've ever heard. So this one's called Things I Wish He Knew.
Thank you, Ben. I remember you leaving down that dusty old driveway in the summer of 13. You'd always said that you had no doubts of where you were going, but you sure hated to leave your family. And I wish you could have seen the sky that day, just as the hearse drove you away. There is peace in the storm, smiles on our faces. We took pictures under red and orange and blues. Things I wish daddy knew. When they laid your body in the ground, well, you wouldn't believe all the people around that grave. And after lunch, your friends came out. Oh, and I could write a book with all the things they had to say of you in your younger days. And I wish you could have seen the crop that year. We had record rains and the pond finally reached the pier. I missed your predictions on the forecast when a storm was rolling in. Just didn't see this one hitting us so soon. Things I wish my daddy knew. Wish you knew how mama's working hard to be strong for the family. She's still learning how to drive your tractor right without riding the clutch too tight. Your babies played the Opry in Nashville, Tennessee on the instruments you gave us. I could feel you there with me. And that's for that old 22. It's still a shooting true and Sally trees the coons up high at night. All your grandkids say they wanna be like you. Things I wish my daddy knew. You're up there with Jesus. You're better there than with us. Cancer ain't got nothing there on you. And I sit and ponder of all the wonders. You know that you might wish that I knew too. I still wish you knew how mama's working hard to be strong for the family. She's still learning how to drive your tractor right without riding the clutch too tight. Your babies play the Opry up in Nashville, Tennessee on the instruments that you gave us. I can feel you there with me. Your family tree grew another line. She's got red hair, but she ain't mine. I'm still waiting to find a man like you. But would you know it ain't that easy to do? Things I wish you knew. Things I wish my daddy knew.
Wow, I love that one. Now you see why I love that song so much. I'd like to do something very special right now. I'd like to present a couple of awards. These are surprise awards. Well, if you've been to a camp before, you know that I love to do this. But this is my favorite part of the whole week because I get to recognize only two. I wish I could do more than two, but I get to recognize a couple folks that stood out to me over the weekend. I have two different awards I'd like to give away. One is called the Silver Spurs Award. And these are for folks that got on their horse this week. And I saw working hard, and I've seen great improvement with, so kind of like a most improved camper. And so I'd like to give that award. The other one is called the Bum Butter Dum Award. That's our most coveted award. That's for the camper that makes this place a better place by them being here. And that's really hard to choose from, believe me, because there's so many great campers. And I'm glad I get to do a lot of these cabin camps and pick winners over and over again. But for my Silver Spurs Award, this camper has been to cabin camp before, so I have to say, I've seen a bit of history. I've seen a bit of evolving in this person's playing and this person's enthusiasm and their skill and their execution. And I was so proud of them tonight as they executed what they worked on so hard. I would like to give my Silver Spurs Award for this Banjo-Only cabin camp to Mr. Mark Corey. You worked really hard, Mark. I'm proud of you, buddy. Thank you. There you go. Thank you. I appreciate it. Let's get a picture. Okay. All right. Congrats, buddy. All right. Yeah. The Bum Butter Dumb Award goes to somebody that I've gotten to know over the last little bit, and he keeps me not only laughing, but he keeps me encouraged. But not only me, it's also all you campers. Everywhere he goes, there's a little bright spot that pops up where he's at, and he's even made me laugh tonight telling a little Ben joke. This goes to James Tucker. Congrats, brother. There you go. Hold it.
Hold on, let me say something. I would like to thank the Academy.
Oh, my. There's no telling what would come out of his mouth. I almost told Justin to mute it, but it wouldn't help. James, I'm thankful for you, buddy. And I've gotten to know so many great new campers. I do have one more award tonight. You know, my wife, she retired last year. She didn't really retire. She quit her job to take a harder job, and that was to homeschool our kiddos. But for near 20 years, she worked in human resources for Gaylord Entertainment, which turned into Ryman Hospitality Properties. And she was eventually over all of the HR. She was the HR manager, and she looks really nice and pretty, but they would call her in to fire people, you know, and do investigations. And she knows everything HR. And she told me, do not give out this award. It's not a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. This is the award for the best looking camper. This is the one that I can't help but turn my head every time they walk by. I try to get close to them in the dinner line to see how they smell, just because. And actually, this person's wife went in with me to give this one to Mr. Brandon Caves. Come on up, Brandon. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Brandon. Happy birthday to you. From me and Aaron. You are pretty cute, but the rest of it was a joke. We're going to play one more song, but I just want to tell you before you leave how special this weekend has been to me. Gosh, how many times over the last weekend, Hannah, have I looked at you and said, I can't believe that we get to do this? I don't know how. I think I just went out to learn GC and D from Alan, and you folks are here. It's just a surreal pleasure of mine. My favorite thing about my job is people, is relationships. I could care less about the banjo compared to getting to know you and making friends. And I just want to say how special you are to me and how much I love you and how much I want to help you get better and better and better. And I want to be a part of your life, and I'm glad that you're a part of mine. You're always welcome back here on Hesse Road if you pay to come. And by the way, prices are going up. This inflation, folks. No, you're always welcome. Seriously, if you come back through Nashville, I'd love to take you out and get something to eat. What'd you say there, Wayne? Yeah, I did. That was an Alan joke there. I do also want to invite all of you. You'll get an email tonight, but tomorrow morning, I'd love for you to join me at church. We have a service at 9:15, and then 10:30, I teach a class. Kyle Cantrell and I teach a class, but we have a special guest tomorrow, Doc Feaster, who is in the Clawhammer group this week. He's a pulmonologist, and he's going to do a very interesting lecture presentation on pulmonology. Maybe you haven't ever heard of lecture on pulmonology in church, but this is the medical aspects of the crucifixion. I can't wait to see this. So if you're free tomorrow morning, I would love to have you. Again, you'll get an email with directions and times and all that. Any other announcements before we do this, Alicia? We good? All right. Thank you all so very much for being here. Look, you don't have to leave when we're done. You can stay as long as you want to within reason. But we got plenty of firewood. I'm going to build the fire up. Please don't leave without saying goodbye. And let me thank you for coming here this weekend. Okay, Russ Carson, Maddie, Mr. Allen, Penny, Katie, Mark Rokey, Dave Dillard. We're going to bring everybody up here. We're going to play one for you. One more to send you home with.